Our next release of macOS is macOS Big Sur. macOS Big Sur introduces an entirely new design and major updates to some of the most essential apps on the platform.
This OS reflects an important history. It's familiar, but it's also entirely new in every detail.
Let's take a look at the Finder. You'll notice it has a gorgeous new top-to-bottom design for the sidebar, and it has a compact, space-efficient toolbar. We've also updated the menu bar. It's now translucent and elegantly takes on the color of your desktop picture. We've brought Control Center to the Mac. I could change display brightness here, or I can click to dive in for more. Now, we've also reinvented Notification Center. You can access it by clicking on the time in the upper right. And as you see, we now have a single view that brings your notifications and widgets together, and we're bringing our redesigned widgets to the Mac. Next, Safari. So now users can click on the Privacy Report button in the toolbar when they visit a site to better understand how that site is treating their privacy. Safari now also securely monitors your saved passwords to ensure that they haven't been compromised in a data breach. We're adding support for the Web Extensions API, so developers can easily bring over extensions that they built for other browsers.
You can just hover over tabs and see a nice preview of the page. Safari has detected that this is not my primary language, and it's added the translation icon to the Smart Search field. I can click here, and let's translate this page to English. It'll happen in line.
Today is going to be a truly historic day for the Mac, because today is the day we're announcing that the Mac is transitioning to our own Apple silicon. At Apple, integrating hardware and software is fundamental to everything we do. That's what makes our products so great.
We've been building and refining our Apple silicon for over a decade. The result is a scalable architecture that is custom designed for Apple products, and it leads the industry in features and performance per watt. And now we're bringing all of that expertise and that same focus and disciplined approach to the Mac. Our plan is to give the Mac a much higher level of performance, while at the same time consuming less power. Our scalable architecture includes many custom technologies that, when integrated with our software, will bring even more innovation to the Mac. With our advanced power management, we will maximize performance and battery life better than ever before. Our high-performance GPU is going to bring a whole new level of graphics performance to every Mac, making them even better for pro applications and really great for games. First, we're designing a family of SoCs specifically for the Mac product line. This will give the Mac a unique set of features and incredible performance. And third, we'll have a common architecture across all of our product lines, making it far easier for developers to write and optimize software for the entire Apple ecosystem.
So of course, when we updated our apps for Big Sur, we built everything as native for Apple Silicon. And I'm happy to say we have all of our own Apple apps, including our most demanding Pro apps, like Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro, up and running as native now, and they'll be ready for customers on day one. We're using Xcode just like all our developers will. Everything developers need to build apps for these new chips is built into the new version of Xcode. To get started, developers just open their app projects and recompile. And to deliver these apps, we've created Universal 2. It's a new type of universal binary that works on both Intel-based Macs and Macs built on Apple Silicon. And what you see here is that we are running on our Apple development platform. This is a system built to support early development using the same A12Z processor currently shipping in iPad Pro. This is the same Mac that Beth and I used to demo all the new Big Sur features earlier. Of course, a big part of the Mac experience is third-party apps. And we've been working with our friends at Microsoft, and they already have Office up and running natively on our new Macs. Let's take a look at Word. It runs great. Scrolling is super smooth. Everything you do is just super responsive. We've also been working closely with our friends at Adobe to bring Creative Cloud to our new Macs. Here's Lightroom running native on Apple Silicon. Navigating large libraries of DNG images is super fast. Let me show you the app I know many of you want to see, Photoshop. Here's a 5 gigabyte Photoshop file by photographer Stephen Wilkes. Now, this is a heavy-duty document with lots of layers. Now, let's add one more bird in there. Let's check out how smooth the animation is As I zoom out, Final Cut fully exploits the system's multi-core architecture to let us play back not just 1 or 2, but 3 streams of full-resolution 4K ProRes, all on an A12Z processor. The shared architecture across our products means that their code will absolutely sing on our new Macs. We want to make sure that users can run all of their apps on day 1, even if some apps haven't yet been updated. macOS Big Sur will include a new version of Rosetta, Rosetta 2. Rosetta 2 automatically translates your existing Mac apps so they work on new Macs with Apple Silicon. And this time, Rosetta is even faster, more powerful, and more compatible. It translates the apps when you install them so they can launch immediately and be instantly responsive. And Rosetta 2 can also translate code on the fly when needed, like for web browsers with just-in-time JavaScript compilers or for Java code. Rosetta 2 is transparent to users, and the performance is amazing. We're also introducing new virtualization technologies in macOS Big Sur. So for developers who want to run other environments like Linux or tools like Docker, we have you covered. When you put all of these technologies together, Universal, Rosetta, and virtualization, you have a system that can run an amazing diversity of apps.
Let's take a look at some existing apps running under Rosetta. This is Maya, the powerful animation and modeling software, running great here on Apple Silicon. I already have a model open that consists of over 6 million polygons, and as you can see, I can fluidly move around in this scene. So let's make it a little more challenging and bring in textures and shaders as well. And still, everything is incredibly fluid. But Rosetta isn't just for apps, it also works amazingly well with games. This is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a high-end AAA game that's using our Metal APIs. I downloaded it directly from the Mac App Store, so it's completely unmodified, and it is absolutely beautiful. And as I follow the path, you can see the game is responsive, it's smooth, and the best part is we're running it at 1080p as a translated app under emulation. So these new Macs, they are fast. Now I want to show you one more type of app to run on these new Macs that we haven't even told you about yet, and that is iPhone and iPad apps. Since they've been built to run on the same Apple Silicon that we're using in our new Macs, they will run natively, completely unmodified on the new Macs as well. This here is one of my favorite games, Monument Valley 2. It's fun to play here on the new Mac. And if I want to catch up on my guitar lessons, I can use Fender Play.
Macs built with Apple Silicon will be able to run iPhone and iPad apps directly. Starting day 1, users can download these apps right from the Mac App Store, and most apps will just work with no changes from the developer. The vast majority of Mac apps can be recompiled as Universal in a few days. We're launching a Quick Start program. The focus of the Quick Start program is to enable developers to make their apps universal and take advantage of all the capabilities of Apple Silicon. This program also includes new Developer Transition Kit hardware, so developers can get going even before we ship production systems. The DTK hardware takes the form of a Mac Mini, but one with an A12Z SoC inside. It has desktop specs, including 16 gigabytes of memory. We will be shipping units out starting this week, so you can get to work.
So what's the timeline for this transition? We expect to ship our first Mac with Apple Silicon by the end of this year, and we expect the transition to take about 2 years. We plan to continue to support and release new versions of macOS for Intel-based Macs for years to come. Our OS releases will be available as developer betas today, and each of them will have a public beta, including watchOS for the very first time starting next month. And all of this great software will be available to our customers this fall.